I first want to thank everybody. It's been an incredible transition for me, moving from Director of Technology to my current role, and everybody has been so wonderful and gracious and fabulous. So I appreciate everybody at Mendon. I appreciate all of you. So I just wanted to get that out of the way first, before I forget. So as you can see from the slides, we put our mission statement right in front, and it echoes the one in the district. We are constantly reminding our students to do their best, be their best, and make a difference in the lives of others. So our instructional leadership team is very important to Mendon, and our makeup is slightly different than in other places, so we just wanted to highlight that for a moment. We have 2 students, 10th and 11th graders, who this year have been extremely active in all the work that you're going to see highlighted today. They will make a guest appearance in a few minutes. We have 2 PTSA members who are fabulous and help us provide a lot of input. 15 teachers who are also department leaders and wear both hats. Our PDTA member, Dave Larson, and the 3 administrators sit on there as well. And one thing that's unique to Mendon that I've found as I've done my research on different instructional leadership teams is we are co-chaired, myself and Mike Donner, who's here and going to speak in a little bit. So we have a teacher and administrator co-chairing the committee. So we meet ahead of time, we plan the agenda, we meet afterwards to discuss how the meeting went, and everything we do is presented as a united front. These are the pictures of us at training for Wind Day. That's why people look so depressed. Okay. So our learning goals this year, our instructional team focused on 3 areas. Of course, we're still focused on our social emotional learning, and we have a number of different activities and groups in the building that I'm going to touch on a little bit later that are working through some of those pieces. We want to continue and grow and refine our professional learning communities and what we're doing with those groups. For example, the picture that you see highlighted in this is from our Superintendent's Day in October, where we reviewed and worked through the 4 steps of a PLC process with all of our teachers in the building and our staff in the building. And what they did is they worked on an assignment for an elementary school, and so they walked through how do you set norms, what does it look like when you set up the activity, what's the assessment that you're going to collect from the students, how do you know if they've achieved that assessment, and they walked through every single step of the process within a 3-hour period, more or less. And that was to remind groups what a PLC really looks like as they're going through that process. And then what we asked them to do is think about their current group, their collaborative team that they're with, figure out where they were in the process, and then try to make where do you want to get next? Where do you want to be next? And then we will also be talking a little bit about working with the grading non-negotiables. Those were rolled out by the district this year, and Mendon has embraced that and worked through an instructional learning team subcommittee to really determine how best to use those as guiding factors for us in our building. So I'm going to introduce Mike Donner, my co-chair, and Eric Damaros, one of the committee members, and they're going to talk a little bit about the WIN, What I Need Day, that we have been focusing on for the last year and then this year as well. Thank you, Jeff.
You're welcome. So the first time we did this presentation, I was talking about how I was going to present on WIN, talk about WIN, and I didn't realize that it was February 27th, the day after the Wind Day, and everybody thought I was doing a presentation at the faculty meeting about wind, which I wasn't, but I guess I rolled the D into that one. So what we decided as an ILT was to continue something that we tried last year that we thought was very successful, and part of the whole process was to survey the students and the teachers after we did the first Wind Day last March. And we found some things that we wanted to improve on, so we really went with it. And you're going to see tonight that we took a really aggressive pace with our Wind Day that we're going to run in next Tuesday. So 8 days is the first one, and then next Friday will be the second one. So I'm actually going to move ahead a little, and then we'll talk about the philosophy. I'm just going to go to this calendar. So if you look at the calendar, what we did was we decided that we would try to have 2 Wind Days, these What I Need Days, for the students to have about a half an hour to make a selection of a study hall or review session or something that they needed in their day to kind of get through some things that they to get some work done, need to get some review, while allowing for teacher collaboration. So part of the staff will be collaborating at the same time while the teachers will be working with students. And we decided to kind of really go at this right after break, and you'll see that, over a course of about 4 weeks, we had a really nice plan to get to these win days. So we looked at the surveys from last year, and we found some things that we thought could use some improving and kind of, address some of the needs that we saw. So we had some problems with Infinite Campus access and registration. So rolled into that calendar is that we had kind of a scaffolded set of days to, address some of these issues and find out almost like a census of how many students needed to have, improved Infinite Campus access. So we actually had, on March 8th, we had the students make sure they could log in, and then we kind of collected who was having problems and what they were. And one of the neat things is that we were able to then kind of address those problems weeks before instead of the day of registration. So we've kind of gotten past that hurdle. We have some new stakeholders, Melissa, and some other people in the building who wanted to know more about this win day, and we got them up to speed. We also wanted to make sure that we could get the students what they needed, and also allow teachers to collaborate during the school day. And we're going to do that again. It's what would we call it? 4.5 period. So it's between fourth and fifth period. So 4.5 or 4.5. The big thing we talked about was kind of a philosophy at ILT about what I need. And there's that I in there, right? And that's the student, what they need. So we really wanted to encourage 100% student registration and decision for what they were going to do. Because if the students buy in, this is something that they need, then maybe we can continue this. And that support we've seen with the students on our ILT, which is great, and we're starting to hear that from them and then from their peers. What's different this year is we have a WIN help desk. So up on the second floor computer lab at Mendon High School, we have Tom Gropp, who's there for kids as a face if they need help with any of the process. Infinite Campus login, changing their registration, just general questions, which is something new. They were going to 10 different people, or the person that they were going to was a teacher in a class, and then that period, they just didn't have a chance to see them. So we have somebody kind of at a help desk. We have that cascaded rollout. So on the calendar, I'm just going to go there once again. We did the Infinite Campus on the 8th, and then we had on the 14th the use of the morning announcements. Some of the students on ILT made videos, and they introduced what the WIN day was going to be about, what the general sessions were for Mendon, and then teachers that day told their students what they were offering. The next day, which was last Friday, we had registration. We're going to have a reminder this Thursday. We're kind of using homeroom, using students, and using things in a more cascaded way instead of trying to do it in a 40-minute phys ed class last year. And that seemed to be a little bit more overwhelming for everybody involved. We decided in ILT that we would use the students, who you'll meet in a second on the video, to actually talk about the WIN day. So I'm going to let them explain, or actually show you one of their videos, and they can explain about the part of the WIN day.
Good morning, Vikings. I'm Addie.
And I'm Sophia.
We are here to talk about our upcoming WIN days. Here are the dates of the WIN days.
For those of you who weren't here last year, a WIN day stands for What I Need. It basically gives us students a time to sign up to work with a teacher or sign up for a study hall to do work.
This is a 30-minute block of time that occurs between fourth and fifth period and allows us to pick up something we want to focus on.
Our goal today is to make sure everyone can register for something they want by ensuring that everyone can log in to their account on Infinite Campus. To do this, you need to have the Infinite Campus app on your phone. This is what it should look like.
Next, we want you to log in. You will need to use your own username and password and not your parents'. Try to log in now. It's okay, we'll wait.
If you can't log in or you don't have the app, please give your name, grade, and homeroom to your homeroom teacher. They have a form that will be submitted to reset your account. Make sure to mark what issue you are having on the form. For example, you can't log in because you don't have an account, don't know your password, or need the app. If you're having other issues, mark the other box.
Before next week, we will work behind the scenes to help you with your specific problem.
We will be back next week with some additional WIN day announcements. Thanks, and have a great day.
So just very quickly, you've seen this calendar before. One of the things that was really great about Mendon High School is that we've leveraged a lot of the things we already have in place. We used our instructional support teams to talk about the kids that could most benefit from some of those core subject area, and we assigned them to some of those, a few of those students. We've used the faculty meetings, department leader meetings, ILT to make this all happen, and that's a real critical part of why this happened in such a wonderful way this year. What we also decided to do is decided to simplify from last year. We are committed to a continuous improving environment. We took the feedback from students, feedback from faculty, we consolidated, and we're going to see how it works this year. And we're going to do the same thing right at the beginning of April. After we have completed the next 2 WIN days, we're going to get the survey from both students and teachers and go back to the drawing board and see how we can continuously improve this really wonderful opportunity for students to understand a little bit more about what they need and then getting the assistance and help that they need. And also for the faculty to know what they want, what they need, and connecting with their colleagues, which is a value that all of us at Mendon High School and the district has. So we're very excited about the opportunities. Melissa is just going to finish up with the last piece that we're working on in ILT.
So we talked a little bit about the WIN Day. So in addition, we have a few other big projects going on. For example, our grading non-negotiables. As I said, we have a subcommittee started. Again, it has one of those student reps, Sophia, who you saw in the video. She joins us every few weeks to meet and has conversation. Early on, we sent out a staff survey to make sure the staff understood that what it looked like in terms of bonus points and extra credit and what the 50 rule really meant. We're still working through that in terms of how do we, as the school, support people who have incompletes, who have students, whether it's will or skill, that they're struggling with. And so one of the things that we did is we presented to the staff that if you have a student who is having trouble with will, meaning they're just not feeling as though they need to do that work for some reason, even though you feel it's an essential piece of their learning, come let us know. We are talking about those students at our counselor admin meetings. We've set up a academic behavior process where they meet with one of the assistant principals. They may go to lunch detention for a few days. They may come to the principal's office and sit in my conference room and write an English paper. We've done all sorts of different approaches with that. And really, it's to let the staff know and our students know that when we ask you to do the work, we're telling you that it's because you need to learn it, not because it's something that's frivolous and not necessary. In addition, we're working on creating a flow chart for our staff. As you can see, this has not been out to ILT yet, so I didn't take the whole image. ILT has to still work through it. But as you can see, step 1 is very simply meet with the student and try to understand why the work's not getting completed. And then you'll see there's 2 different branches if it's a will problem versus a skill problem. So that's where we are in terms of our steps. In addition, we are working through, as I said early on, the social emotional learning initiatives. This year we once again did some trusted adult work early on at the October staff day. We have done a kindness calendar through our social emotional learning group, and what that looked like in the month of December was there was a calendar that was put out, and we challenged students and staff both to take different activities off the calendar, such as give a compliment to someone, sit at lunch with different people and talk to them about different things. We do Friday music, which is a carryover from Barker Road, but it's something the kids said helped them sort of ease into the day a little bit. So every Friday we play different types of music and different songs. And then this month we have staff support bingo in the faculty room for staff because March is a very long month, right? And then one of the last things that we've done at Mendon this year is a principal's advisory committee. We took 5 to 6 to really 7 students from each class because they were all so fabulous and wonderful. And we meet monthly, and topics to discuss included grading, school safety, emotional safety, school spirit. They're all topics that they have chosen to bring to me, and we sit and we have some robust conversation. It's a very intriguing group. The first topic they wanted to discuss right away was grading, and the reason why is because they wanted bonus points. They wanted their extra credit back. And so we had lengthy conversation around what does a tissue box mean? what can you tell me you've learned from bringing a tissue box into science class? And they finally, at the end, went off as little ambassadors to explain that a 50 really isn't that much different from a 0, and this is why, and how many points of degrees of separation, and what that looks like, and that we're there to learn. It's not about the grade. So we have to show the learning, not the grade. So it was a great conversation, and they've been a great group, and they've really been really honest and vocal, and it's been a great opportunity for me to sit with kids and actually talk about Mendon and what Mendon looks like from their perspective, which is a voice that isn't always at the table when adults are sitting there, right? So that's it for Mendon. As you can see, Mendon Madness, that's what we're about. Thank you. Any questions?
The wins is great. It sounds terrific. I wish I were in school doing this. But I'm looking at the difference of offerings from last year to this year. How did that come about? How did you choose these different offerings? It looks like you're more focused on curricular items.
So part of that was last year the conversation was around, we offered things that would be somewhat enrichment activities too. So there were things like learning to change a tire or using 3D pens, which were all great, but we also felt that we really didn't, there were some students based on the survey, and I've learned this information, so if I'm incorrect, any one of you jump in. So based on the survey that we saw, there were some students who were pulled to an academic area and an academic focus by the teachers. Well, some kids got to pick and choose to do something with the enrichment piece, and they felt that they were maybe penalized as opposed to learning something new or different. So we decided this year to really focus on the academic piece as we're transitioning and learning processes and trying to identify structures we can use within the building. As we hope this rolls out further and more often at Mendon in the future, we will be able to put some of those pieces back in. We just have to get through the logistics and the structures right now. That's what we're working on. Sure.
Melissa, I just wanted to make a comment. I know I talked about the basketball and the teams were great, but I also wanted to say that the play was phenomenal.
Amazing.
And it was great.
Yeah.
Very impressive. So many talented students.
We had a very busy week at Mendon, and it was awesome. Everything, the one regret I have is that I didn't make it to robotics on Saturday, right? Like, there were so many fabulous things going on because the students are amazing, our staff is amazing, and I can't say enough about the wonderful things at Mendon High School, and I'm lucky to be a small piece of it.
Anyone else? Melissa, thank you very much, and thank you for the tour as well. We appreciated your time and the staff's time, so thank you all for hosting us.
Thank you. Thanks for coming over.